Dear student, today we shall discuss a new chapter from Social Science, Geography, chapter 6, that is population. India is the second most populous country in the world with a population of 1.21 billion people, that is according to 2011 census, which means that we have a population which makes more than a sixth of the world's population, and India is projected or believed to be the world's most populous country by 2025, which means it will be more than China, and its population is likely to reach 1.6 billion by 2050. Let us understand all about the population of India and the factors affecting it. Human beings, with their skills and energy, play a very important role in increasing the value of resources. With our ability and act, we are different from all other elements of nature, and yet we are a part of our environment. Therefore, natural disasters and calamities are significant in relation to us. For example, an earthquake causes huge loss of life and property where there is huge number of populations, and there is a negligible loss in a desert where the population is less. People play the double role of producers and consumers. Due to our needs, we are able to produce a variety, and with our demand for satisfaction, we are consumers. Human beings are the primary users of all natural resources on earth. In this context, a chapter about population becomes central to the study of social sciences. Okay, size of population. India has about 17% of the world's population, and in a land area of just 3.27 million square kilometer. That is the area of a country, and this is roughly just 2.4% of the world's total land area. Out of the total land area on earth, we occupy just around 2.4. However, as far as population is concerned, our percentage, world population percentage, is around 17%. And according to the census report of 2011, census means counting of population after every year. So the last census was 2011. So according to the last census report of 2011, the population of India is over 1,210 million, means 1 billion and 210 lakhs, and out of which 62 crore 37 lakhs 24,248 are males, and 58 crore and 64 lakhs 69,174 are females. With regard to sex ratio, at present there are 900 females on average per 1000 males, and the child sex ratio is 914 females per 1000 males, which means for every 1000 males there are 940 females, and out of every 1000 boys there are only 914 girls. India added 181 million to its population since 2001. So within this 10 years times, the population has increased by 181 million. Our population is a close second to China, that has a population of 1,273.3 million. According to the latest data of the 15th Indian National Census, which was conducted in 2011, UP, that is Uttar Pradesh, with a population of 200 million, that is 2 crore people, is the most densely populated state of India. Similarly, Sikkim or Lakshadweep have a population of less than 1 million, means less than 10 lakhs. Half of the populations of India is concentrated in just 5 states, and they are UP, Maharashtra, Bihar, West Bengal and Andhra Pradesh. Population density. The number of persons living in per square kilometer area is termed as population density. India is one of the most densely populated countries of the world. The average density of India was 312 persons per square kilometer according to the census 2011. And as far as density of populations is concerned, it is different, or it varies according to the relief or the physical shape of the land and climate of an area, and together with the level of development in the region. For example, in a state like West Bengal, the density of population is 1030 persons per square kilometer. On the other hand, in a state like Arunachal Pradesh, the density of population is just 13 persons per square kilometer. So you can clearly reason out the causes for this by studying the relief of the two states. For example, West Bengal is a flat, is a plain land, and on the other hand, Arunachal is a rugged mountain terrain. It's a hilly, rough mountain area, and areas of sparse population have a population density of 0 to 100 persons per square kilometer. So in those places where there is a less population, they have just a population density of 0 to 100 persons per square kilometer. And these places would be areas or regions along the north and northeastern part of the country, and from east to west the regions would include Arunachal Pradesh, Sikkim, Uttarakhand, mountain regions of Jammu and Kashmir, deserts of Rajasthan, and Kutch areas of Gujarat. And unpleasant climate, absence of resources, dense forest, and rough topography, means rough shape of physical areas, would be the reason for less population in the places mentioned above. Moderate density of population is seen in regions supporting a population of 100 to 200 persons per square kilometer. Places like Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Uttarakhand, and interior parts of Odisha, Telangana regions of Andhra Pradesh, and eastern Maharashtra are examples of moderate states. Factors such as dissected or cut or divided topography, that is the shape or the physical features, and poor shallow soils of the Deccan Plateau, less rain and forest cover do not encourage dense population in these areas. So these are the reason why the so-called moderate density of population is seen in these regions. And the main reasons are because of the shape of physical or the relief of the land, and beside that there is another very important factors, that is soils, that is found in the plateau regions of the Deccan. And due to the less rainfall and the so-called the less cover of, the forest cover do not encourage dense population in these areas. High density population areas have more than 200 persons per square kilometer, and examples are the northern plains, which is extending from the state of Punjab to the Brahmaputra river valley in Assam. The coastal plains and peninsular river valleys are densely populated. By peninsular river here we're talking about the southern states of India. The literary meaning of peninsula means an area which is surrounded or bounded by three water bodies is known as peninsula. States of Kerala, West Bengal, and Tamil Nadu are some of the most densely populated states of India, and the reason being, or the factors are flat and fertile land, good network of communication, availability of water, and moderate climate makes these regions suitable for habitations. And this is the reason why we find the maximum or the highest density of population in India. Growth of population. Population is never constant or same. It keeps on changing, and it is not uncommon to see a sudden increase or decrease of population, though a steady increase in the population is more common. The change in population size depends on three factors. Number one, births. Two, dates. And the third one is migration. The growth of population is the change in the size of populations of an area during a particular period of time, which is usually a year. Such a change can be shown either in absolute numbers or as a percentage. Growth in population is generally conducted and calculated per decades, like the census. By decades mean once in a 10-year. And growth can be both natural and actual. The difference between the birth rate and the death rate shows the natural increase in population. When the earlier population is subtracted from the latter, the difference shows the growth in absolute number. For example, in 1991, the population was just 850, and that of 2001 is 1025 million. So the absolute increase in 10 years time population is 1025 minus by 850 is equal to 175 millions. So that is the change in population size in 10 years time. For the purpose of convenience, growth of population is calculated as a percentage. A country with an annual growth rate of 1% has a healthy growth rate. On the other hand, a country whose annual growth rate is more than 2% continues to be very populous country. For example, the current annual increase in India's population is 1.4%, which is large enough to negate efforts to conserve environment and resources. In recent years, there has been a decrease in annual growth rate. Nevertheless, the absolute increase in population remains high due to the large numbers being carried forward from previous years. And the reasons for the decrease in the growth rate could be a fall in birth rate, family planning, etc. Factors affecting change in populations. And there are three factors. They are birth rate, death rate, and migrations. The most apparent change is brought about by birth rate. Birth rate is the number of live births per thousand persons annually. In India, the number of births continues to be very high. And number two, death rate is the number of deaths per thousand persons in a year. In recent years, the death rate has gone down in India primarily due to better health, sanitations, vaccinations, and immunizations. The differences between birth rate and death rate shows the natural increase in populations. The third one, migration. Internal migration affects the local or regional population without changing the base population. For example, if a person started leaving his own home state and started living, for example, a person from Mizoram leaves Mizoram and started living in West Bengal. So that is the examples of internal migrations, and this is going to affect the populations of the regional, but it won't change the population as a whole of a country. And international migration results in an increase or decrease of the country's total population. So, which means if a person leaves his own country and started living in other country, is going to affect the country's total population. Emigrations or immigrations are forms of migrations. If a person's move out of a country, and if he started living, say for example a person leaves his country and lives in USA, so he has, which means he has migrated to that country and he became an immigrant in USA. There are many economic and social and physical reasons why people emigrate or moved to other country and settle, and they can usually be classified into push and pull factors. Push factors are those associated with the area of origin, while pull factors are those that are associated with the area of destination. However, the dominant motive for migration is economic, and pull factors tend to be higher wages and greater demand for labor, which are perhaps found in centers of industry and commerce. Economic push factors can include overpopulations and the absence of economic opportunity. For example, people from UP and Bihar, due to huge populations and less job opportunities, they migrated to states like Punjab and started working there because of economic opportunity. Migration leads to change in populations, size, sex compositions, unequal ratio between rural and urban populations, and increase in urban populations. Because of more job opportunities or economic opportunities, people from rural Thintlang area moves to urban, that is cities. Age composition. Population is divided into three age groups. Number 1, between 1 to 14, comprising children who are totally dependent on their parents and guardians. So people who are in the age between 1 to 14 are still depending. They are not economically independent, so they totally depend on their parents and guardians. So that is the first age composition. The second one is age between 15 and 59, comprising people who are adults, puitling, and workers who carry the burden of dependent populations. So this age group is very, very important because these are the people, the working class, people who are physically fit, who can earn and who can take cares or take the burdens of the dependent population. Number 3, age 60 and above, and they are the old and the category of people who become non-worker. By the age of 60, beyond 60, people gets retired, and this is the time when they started depending on others. A person's age determines his or her capacity to work, his or her needs, behavior, and social structure. Thus, the percentage of people within each of these three groups determines the economic and social structure of a country. The balance between the working and the dependent population is known as dependency ratio. Children are economically unproductive and dependent group. Therefore, they need to be fed, clothed, educated, and given medical care. They can't stand on their own feet. They have to depend on the elders. And the working populations are economically independent and the most productive group. They're the one who take care of the dependent populations. The aged people beyond 60 years may have the capacity to work and can be economically independent, though they may have relieved or retired from their employment, from their job. They may be working voluntarily too. The percentage of children in age affects the dependency ratio because the former are not producer. Sex ratio. This is the number of females per 1000 males. This information shows the equality between sexes, that is male and female in a country. Female are less than males in India. And this is further corroborated by the decline in the sex ratio in the recent year. The average sex ratio in India was 933 per 1000 males in 2001. However, there is some slight improvement in the last 2 years when it rose to 940 females per 1000 males in 2011. And some countries such as Japan have a sex ratio of 1041 per 1000 males. Kerala is the only state where sex ratio is favorable to women by having 1084 females per 1000 males. And Haryana has the lowest sex ratio with only 877 females per 1000 males. Literacy. A person above the age of 7 who is able to read and write with understanding, or a person who is above the age of 7 who can read and write and understand a simple passage, can be considered as a literate person. And in any a country with low literacy level has low economic growth. According to the census of 2011, the literacy level of a country stood at 74.04%, with 82.14% literate males and only 65.46% females. Kerala has the highest literacy level of 93.91%, followed by Mizoram with 91.6%, while Bihar has the least or the lowest level of literacy with 63.8%. Structure of occupation. There are mainly three main activities of people, and they are primary, secondary, and tertiary or service sector. By primary activities, they include those means of livelihood that are directly involved with natural resources. For example, people who are earning their livelihood or who are engaged in farming, fishing, mining, animal breeding, and forestry. All these are primary occupations. And people who are engaged in primary occupations has over more than 60% of its population. And when we compare with USA and Japan, USA have only 5% and Japan has only 10% people who are engaged or population who are engaged in the primary activities. Secondary activities include manufacturing industries and productions of goods and machinery, and around 13% of the Indian populations are engaged in secondary activities. The last one, that is tertiary activities, which are mainly concerned with services such as health, sanitation, education, banking, transport and communications. Around 23% of Indians are employed in this sector, that is tertiary sector. Health, an important component of population. Health affects the process of development of a populations, and in order to take care of this health, the government, with the introductions of health schemes, that is ranging from Janani Suraksha Yojana, Yojana means scheme, Pradhan Mantri Swasthya Suraksha Yojana means Prime Minister Health Insurance Scheme, to schemes that help people in treating various diseases, have resulted in improvement in health conditions of a country. And preventions of infectious diseases, improvement of public health, and treatments of diseases have reduced death rates considerably from 8.88 deaths per 1,000 in the year 2000 to 7.3 deaths per 1,000 in 2011. However, in spite of achievements, the general health situations in India is a matter of great concern. Adolescent population and their health. 1/5 of the country's population comprises of adolescents, Clairol, that is aged between the group of 10 to 19 years. At this crucial age, they are full of enthusiasm, energy, ambition and high ideals. And they not only need careful nurturing but also nutrient-rich diet. Growth and development requires proper nourishment, health care and basic educations. And because of that, even in schools, especially in those schools which are run by government, the government are providing midday meals. However, in India, poor nutrition result in anemia, that is deficiency in blood, and other associated problems. A large number of adolescents are unable to complete their studies or earn a proper means of livelihood. Thus, there is an urgent need to work out a national policy to understand the problem of adolescents and solve them justifiably. National Population Policy, that is NPP. The NPP 2000 aims at promoting family planning programs, that is to have less children, and other issues, problems that it touches upon are making education free and compulsory till the age of 14 years and bringing awareness among the people about a benefit of healthy and educated family. And some of the aims of NPP are: number one is to decrease the infant mortality rate, that is through immunization for infants, preventions of child marriages, which will help protect the child bearing age, free and compulsory education for all children, together with food and nutritional supplements. The NPP gives special attention to adolescents' need for protections and against unwanted pregnancies and sexually transmitted disease like HIV, STD. It calls for awareness among the youth of the risks of unprotected sex and making contraceptive services accessible and affordable by giving condoms and different types of contraceptive pills. In this way, it can protect the risk of unprotected sex or unwanted pregnancies. Number two, the vast number of the people of India can be its greatest assets if they are provided with the means to lead healthy and economically productive lives. Spread of literacy and education, increasing availability of affordable reproductive and child health service, improvement of services at the village level, participations of women in paid workforce, together with steady, equitable improvement in family incomes, will facilitate early achievements of the socio-demographic goals. This turning the burgeoning, that is flourishing population into a productive human resources. Now, dear student, I want all of you to listen and watch this video carefully, and while listening to it for your better understanding, I want all of you to take out your book, and while watching the video, notes, short answers will be given, and I want all of you to go through the video carefully, and I want you to learn by heart the notes given in the video. Thank you.